Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. Today we look at the physics of the unseen and the unheard. We explore a world where light is a luxury and sound is the only map, and why you should never try to outstealth a species that mastered the art of hiding in the dark long before they mastered the light. In the quiet corners of the galaxy, there are worlds where the sun is nothing more than a faint, distant ember. Umbra 3 is one such world. It is a planet of thick, soupy atmosphere and perpetual violet twilight. In this environment, vision is almost useless. Evolution on Umbra 3 took a different path, leading to the rise of the Sonari. The Sonari are the masters of the acoustic spectrum. They have no eyes. Instead, their heads are dominated by massive, multi-layered auricular pedals that can detect the heartbeat of a mouse from 3 miles away. To a Sonari, the world is not a collection of colors, but a symphony of echoes. They see by emitting high-frequency clicks and interpreting the bounce back with mathematical precision. To them, a hidden enemy is impossible because as long as you have mass, you reflect sound. When the Sonari hegemony moved to seize the atmospheric processing plants on Umbra 3, they didn't expect a fight. They viewed humans as clumsy, loud-footed primates who relied on clumsy torches and glowing screens. They assumed that in the dark, the humans would be blind and helpless, stumbling through the mist while the Sonari picked them off like fruit from a tree. High Tracker Krell of the Sonari vanguard stood atop a jagged obsidian ridge. He clicked his tongue and the world bloomed in his mind, a three-dimensional map of ripples and vibrations. He could see the jagged rocks, the swaying of the ironleaf trees, and the distant rhythmic thud of the human machinery. The humans are huddled in their metal boxes. Krell signaled to his pack through subsonic vibrations. They carry lights that do not penetrate the fog. They make so much noise that they might as well be screaming. We will move in the silence between their heartbeats. We will be the shadows they cannot see, and the echoes they cannot hear. Krell was a legendary tracker, but he was about to learn a lesson in human material science. He didn't know that humans are a species that spent centuries trying to make things quiet, from the padded carpets of their homes to the stealth coatings of their submarines. He didn't know that the humans on Umbra 3, the 12th Silent Night Rangers, had developed a new type of combat gear, the Acoustic-Void suit. Inside the human research station, Sergeant Elias Blackwood was suited up. His gear wasn't made of metal or smooth plastic. It was covered in a thick, jagged layer of microscopic carbon nanotube foam. This material was designed with a single goal: total acoustic absorption. "All right, ghosts," Blackwood's voice whispered through his bone conduction headset. "The bats are outside. They think they own the frequency. Switch to passive comms and engage the dampeners. Remember, if you make a sound, you exist. If you stay silent, you are a ghost." The Sonari moved into the human perimeter. They were silent, their padded feet making no more noise than a falling leaf. They emitted their constant high-frequency pings, expecting to see the solid, vibrating shapes of human soldiers. But as the pings hit the Silent Night Rangers, something terrifying happened. The sound didn't bounce back. The carbon foam on the human suits was a geometric trap for sound waves. When a Sonari ping hit a Ranger, the sound was pulled into the microscopic honeycombs of the fabric and bounced around until its energy was completely dissipated as heat. To the Sonari's mental map, the humans weren't just hidden, they were holes in the world. Where there should have been a reflection of a body, there was only a terrifying, empty void. High Tracker Krell paused, his ears twitching in confusion. He sent out a powerful wideband click. The ridge, the trees, the station, they all appeared in his mind. But in the middle of the courtyard there were 3 black spots. These were areas where no sound returned. It was like looking at a star-filled sky and seeing a patch of absolute, impenetrable darkness. "There is nothingness in the courtyard," Krell signaled, his pedals vibrating with unease. "A void that moves? It has no echo. It has no vibration. How can a thing exist and not reflect?" The Sonari panicked. Their entire reality was based on the bounce back. To encounter an object that absorbed their sight was like a human encountering a man who was invisible even under a spotlight. That was when the Night Stalkers struck. They didn't use gunpowder weapons. The sound would have been a beacon. Instead, they used pneumatic crossbows and pressurized gas darts. The sound was so low, so muffled, that it was lost in the ambient hum of the wind. A Sonari soldier next to Krell suddenly collapsed, a carbon fiber bolt through his neck. Krell clicked frantically, trying to see the shooter. He saw the bolt, he saw the blood, but he saw no archer. "It is a spirit." An alien soldier shrieked, his subsonic voice wavering. "It strikes from the silence. There is nothing there. I am looking at the spot and there is only the void." The humans moved like predators through the violet mist. They didn't just hide, they used the Sonari's own biology against them. They deployed acoustic decoys, small vibrating pucks that emitted the sound of a human heartbeat and the shuffle of feet. The Sonari lunged at these decoys, firing their sonic cannons into empty air, while the Real Rangers stood perfectly still just inches away, their suits drinking in the noise of the aliens' frustration. Blackwood stepped out of the shadows directly behind a Sonari elite guard. The alien's ears were spinning, trying to track a dozen different decoys. He never heard Blackwood. He never felt the ripple of air because the suit's texture broke up the wind. Blackwood gripped the alien's head and ended the fight with a silent, practiced efficiency. In the command spire, High Tracker Krell was losing his mind. He was surrounded by nothing. Everywhere he looked with his ears, he saw the shapes of his dying soldiers, but the killers were invisible. The humans had become acoustic black holes. You cannot hide from the sound. Krell screamed, his voice a desperate high-pitched screech. Everything has a frequency. Everything vibrates. Blackwood walked into the command room. He stood right in front of Krell. The alien's ears were inches from the human's chest, but all Krell saw was a terrifying gap in his perception. A hole in the universe where a monster should be. Not everything, Krell, Blackwood whispered, his voice a low, gravelly vibration that the alien felt rather than heard. On Earth we have a saying, silence is golden. But for you, silence is the end. Blackwood tapped a button on his wrist. A massive high-decibel sonic flashbang detonated inside the room. It wasn't a bang, it was a sustained 200-decibel white noise blast that overloaded the Sonari's sensitive ears instantly. Krell fell to his knees, clutching his head, his world of echoes replaced by a blinding, agonizing roar of static. He was truly blind for the first time in his life. The Sonari hegemony withdrew from Umbra 3 within the week. They couldn't fight an enemy they couldn't perceive. They couldn't exist in a world where the void hunted them. The Galactic Council's report on acoustic stealth was a landmark in military science. It warned of the human ability to master any medium, even the ones they weren't born into. Advisory. Do not assume your primary senses provide a complete picture of a human adversary. Humans are masters of the negative space. If they know how you see, they will find a way to make themselves invisible to that sight. On worlds of sound, they will become the silence. On worlds of heat, they will become the cold. They do not just hide, they remove themselves from the equations of your reality. Humanity had proven the ultimate stealth HFY truth. You can have the best ears in the galaxy, but they don't mean a thing if the enemy decides to stop making noise. We are the architects of the quiet. We are the ones who wait in the gaps. And if you hunt us by sound, don't be surprised when the last thing you hear is absolutely nothing. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. Listen closely. Or don't. If you enjoyed this victory of human stealth and acoustic physics, hit that like button. Comment below. If you were invisible to sound, what is the first thing you would do? Subscribe for the grand finale of the Apex Factor. The gravity hammers. The mist is still. The night is ours.